stores at all in that late date. Maybe clothing and all other necessities of life will just come in capsules to which you only add water. Perhaps the ladies of the future will be able to shop directly from their homes, through their televisions. They can see a dress in their favorite film and with the push of a button, order it directly to their house. Imagine a girl as she's sitting in her home that's entirely hers. Every corner of it reflects back at her who she is, from the pictures on the wall, to the clothes in her closet, to the style of her hair and the books on her shelves. It's all her. Backgrounds will be realistic, three-dimensional televised scenes. Ski suits will be shown against a snowstorm that is actually taking place in St. Moritz. Bathing suits will be displayed against a water carnival happening in Florida. Perfumes will be displayed in front of slow-motion photos of flower buds unfolding into full-blossomed beauty. And there will be so many clothes to choose from, not the limited collections that we know today. Because the people in 2052 will know who they want to be, and there will be a plethora of styles. There will be something for everyone. Tell us who you want to be, and we have a store for you. Or perhaps there won't be any stores at all at that late date. Maybe clothing and all other necessities of life will just come in tiny capsules to which you only add water. Perhaps the ladies of the future will be able to shop directly to, I don't know. Perhaps the ladies of the future will be able to shop directly from their homes. But I think the part that's like a little heartbreaking about it is that how naive it is.
But also some of those things are true.
Exactly, it's a little like, ooh.
The perfume.
Yeah. God, I wish we had a voice sample of him. I wish we had a voice sample of him.
The first time that I performed, I'm quite cliche in that way because I'm like many other people that you've heard say, oh, from as early as I can remember, I was always doing a show for someone, which is true. I had like a canvas bag of hand puppets, and I remember, honestly, I can't remember how the fuck this happened, because I know that we were on holiday in Greece, and I think I was like maybe 6 or 7, and I had some of my hand puppets with me. I don't know what my packing logic was there, but I remember I put on like a puppet show in this little holiday flat that we had with my family.
No, I mean, the dress is lovely.
At restaurants, if there was like a live band somewhere, I would like go up and be like, can I sing a song? Which is cute until you're about 6, and then it gets obnoxious, you know? But yeah, very much that.
Bit, like the cut of it to be like a little like matronly in our current like concept of fashion.
I mean, that's kind of our problem, right? Is that we're playing to today's audience and they need to be stunned by her. But we also are like, yeah, but it was the 1930s.
I am, in this moment, Zoe Lohmann, hanging out on my balcony, and professionally, I am sometimes known as Alexander Cameltoe, which is my drag name persona, and I am a drag king, drag thing, and genderfuck performer. And I suppose for this project's purposes, I'm also a playwright and a director and one of those megalomaniacs that wears too many hats in their own project.
Is she too fat for it?
She is.
Cynthia, you have too many ribs. Have some removed. I can't believe it.
This is, yeah, someone who is itty bitty.
A size 0 mannequin is too fat for this dress.
The drag, I don't think anyone saw coming, including myself. But to be fair, I mean, my mom and dad did raise me on the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and my mom was always singing cabaret around the house. So, and those were, like, I was obsessed with the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Oh my God. I would watch it at least once a week. And sometimes, like, back to back, just twice in a row. Cabaret the musical, and Chicago, and I was so big into musicals.
We kind of should block with the costumes.
You're right.
You know, because we need to know, like, the costumes are an essential part of the blocking.
All of the ones that had this sort of, like, nightlife, sort of cabaret flair were my favorites. I don't think I really recognized the pattern at the time, but now looking back, it's like, oh yeah, there's a reason I enjoyed that more than like West Side Story or something, you know? I liked those, but there was something that drew me over here. So, yeah. And I think the sort of the comedy and the eye winking performance of it all, and the idea of like having the audience as like a concept in the show, right? Like, I think that's what's cool about cabaret and about Chicago, is that you're watching a play, like you're watching people watching a play. And all the acts are like with a specific audience in mind. It's not just a movie where people randomly burst into song and dance, right?
This is maybe a little burlesque. And it's just very slow again. The way she holds a cigarette will have them gasping, oh my gosh.
I think each musical moment was a bit different there.
She'll have hands like Tilly Losh, and a profile that'll be famous from Tokyo to Florence, and knows she can follow with conviction. And unlike Gertrude, it won't lead her into gambling addiction. Most end up pregnant or bankrupt.
I really knew the energy that I wanted, and it was really difficult to figure out how to make that happen somehow.
She'll have a nose like Gertrude Lawrence, and a profile that'll be famous from Tokyo to Florence, and knows she can follow.
It's that pace, like that boom 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 boom. I knew that I'd heard that somewhere before. I didn't know where though, and I just knew that like I wanted that underneath. And I was like, well, I can't hire like a whole jazz band. That's crazy to make a new song, and I don't know how to compose and da da da. And Emilia really like came through, and firstly from just my like la 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 sort of interpretations was like, oh, I think you're talking about Sing 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 by Benny Goodman. And I was like, yes, that's the one, this is it. And then just did the most amazing job like editing it and putting it all together and creating this whole musical act out of it.
This is fun. And then a little tap in between.
I think form is content, and I think that if we start with Lester being in complete control of his world, it has to be in one of his favorite forms. And he obviously he loved the Broadway musical, and he always compared Broadway musicals to window dressing, and we're like, oh, they're very similar. And also he had this opinion that the Broadway musical and window dressing are the only two true U.S. American art forms, you know, like they're the true American originals, which is like hilarious and absurd and like weirdly accurate. I don't know, so it's a form that he loved. It's a form that he was inspired like by, his work was inspired by. And I think there's also this idea of like when someone feels like they're the star of their own musical and everything revolves around them and all the objects become their little backup singers and stuff, you know, like it makes him feel like he's in complete charge of his world, and I think that's what I wanted.
Tell them that you'll buy them a ticket to the show.
Yeah.
A renter's fee of €12 to get someone to get a butt in a seat. Again, so much cheaper than $88 dress. €88 dress. I mean, I probably have enough work to do on the puppet.
Yeah, I think so. And otherwise, actually, when you're done with that, if you're done with that, we could do Andrew's Sisters and Pieces.
Yeah, right.
I discovered the story of Lester Gaba and Cynthia through my favorite podcast, 99% Invisible. And they picked up the story of Cynthia and Lester Gaba, and I was just obsessed with it from the beginning. I was like, what are you talking about? Because if I have this in plaster, then I can just pull multiples.
Yeah.
And so I think very early on I was like, I have to do something with this. I'm not sure what it's gonna be, but something. And I don't know, I also like I had a whole obsession with mannequins as like a subject in my high school art. I did like notebooks and notebooks full of drawings of like creepy possessed mannequins and like mannequin like people, because I think it related very heavily to like my kind of fucked up relationship to my own femininity. Like I remember I did this drawing that I was really proud of, I don't know where the fuck it is now, but it was basically this like mannequin proportioned, like perfect sort of female body that was just like suspended in all these like machines that were like measuring it and like holding it in place, and it was like having its head like screwed open and like its brain fucked with, and like thermometers going into like every orifice making sure it was like perfect, you know, and it was just this horrible. I took a couple of stabs at writing Cynthia because I was like, oh, there's something in there and I want to get it out. And I think I always sort of picked quote unquote the wrong angle, or like the wrong angle for me. And when I first started writing it, it's because I found out about these like non-human influencers that we have today, right? These like sort of robot influencers online. And then I was like, oh wait, this is Cynthia today. I need to like write about this. And then the only way to write it from her point of view is to be incredibly preachy or like self-righteous, or like there's only one trajectory that she can go on. There's not really a lot of interesting choices she can make. She just has to go on a vendetta. And as vindicating as a story as that can be, it's not very alive. And so I kept running up against this thing of like, oh, like, well, this is not that interesting to write, or I don't really know how to make like interesting choices with this. And I kept running into the wall over and over again until I was like, wait, you're a drag king. Like, why not just, like, why are you struggling so hard with this and giving yourself such a hard time? Just do what you're good at. Try that. Yes, it is. It is available. Amelia sent me the jar. You should leave. Okay. Because then, yeah, that's pretty funny. Until mine fall apart, or
Yeah.
okay.
Do you want to put the music on? Why don't we just take this is like free time play. Try anything.
We take them one by one, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Top man at his craft.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it was an absurd timeline that we made the show on. Originally, when Monica and I were planning this, we were thinking of like at least a month together. We're like, oh yeah, great, we'll spend all of April together researching and, you know, doing R&D, and then we'll have a show in May sometime, you know? And then we were offered this slot, and the way that our schedules lined up only allowed for 2 weeks.
Genau, also ich möchte heute Nachmittag auch noch ein bisschen Zeit damit verbringen, das hier alles anständig zu machen, weil wir haben es immer nur einfach gelabert und nie richtig geprobt. Also das ist gerade ein bisschen Brandzone bei mir. Hi, this part of the show is a huge mess. I'm freaking out. Very authentic footage.
Which is way too little time. But I think that 9 years of doing drag performance has instilled in me an audacity that is like, the show will always happen somehow. And sometimes like the most interesting solutions you find are the ones when you don't have time to think of something more like complicated or edited or whatever, you know? And I think, I mean, I like, the one thing that I feel bad about is that I forced everyone else to do this insane schedule with me, which I know was really exhausting and like way too crazy. And I'm really grateful that people were on board and down to clown and stuck it out. And that they trusted in the show and in me enough to put themselves through that.
Yeah. Zoe, think tall thoughts.
I mean, that's a joke. You want to be
Just a little one.
Alexander's like a foot taller than you.
Yeah, he has 20 centimeter platforms, so
Exactly.
he's like here.
But I don't know, like I've developed a very deep sense of confidence that like you can put on something worth watching.
No, wait, that's it.
Yeah.
We might have used the words. For your khakis now, there's nothing he can do. It's the color of the season, 1942.
Girls at home, what would they get up to when they're left all alone? But Mr. Gaba's only care. Who would take Cynthia to do her nails in her
Should we on take Cynthia to like take a step out?
That's nice, yeah.
Right? Was who would take Cynthia to do her nails and her hair? Take Cynthia to do her nails and her hair. He had a bright idea. That's where we need to pick you up, right? Bright idea before his troop was gone. He shipped his girlfriend Anna Faye to live with his mom. Oh no, his girl is gone. Suddenly he's just a soldier boy. But I'll tell you, sister, no one's shirts were shine brighter and nobody's shirts iron crisper. He wasn't made for a fight, but made it look alright. I've never seen a soldier wear his belt so tight.
Part of me wishes we had more time to polish it more. Part of me is really glad that we got to do this version of it in such a slapdash boom. We had 1 day per scene. We're like, okay, we have to figure the scene out today. Lock it in, figure it out, and then we can workshop it a bit later, but like we don't have time to think of every possible option.
And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay. Mannequin whose obituary made the New York Times or something.
Yeah.
She was
Oh yeah, there's a different line in there.
Should we, I mean, we don't have to decide this now, but should we keep our costumes kind of fucked up, but with our faces still?
Yeah, I think I would like it to be like a little demon afterwards.
Yeah.
But we're like pretending like everything is fine again.
That's a smart idea.
All the other boys are worried for the girls at home. What will they get up to when they're left all alone? But Mr. Gaba's only care was who would take Cynthia to do her nails and her hair. He had a bright idea before his troop was gone. He shipped his girlfriend in a crate to live with his mom. Oh no, his girl was gone. Suddenly he's just a soldier boy. But I'll tell you, sister, fresh and bright, nobody's shirts iron crisper.
He was made for a fight, but made it look alright. I've never seen a soldier wear his belt so tight. When his mom opened the box like in Missouri State, but in her eyes was a surprise, she was unafraid. Lester had left in great detail. Oh shit, this thing's searching for everything. Her busy life in detail. Mom was number 2 to a celebrity. Now Mom was number 2 to a celebrity.
Oh, I did write finger wag in there.
Yeah. Number 2 to a celebrity. I have like a desire to be more anal about the things that I make because I always have to slap shit together at the last minute and it drives me crazy.
Oh, man.
So like when there will come a day when I am done with the drag schedule of life and then I will lock myself in a house
And then I will just make like beautifully crafted things.
Can you call me that day? I'm curious. Maybe our life will change.
God, if it wasn't for Amma, we wouldn't have done the show this year. Because Amma is the person that like supports me in my work to the extent where they know that I want to make something and they can see me procrastinating and pushing things off and not knowing how to take the next step. And they were on my ass about like, Zoe, if you want Cynthia to happen this year, you need to start writing to theaters now. Do it. And I was like, oh, but I don't have a good pitch deck and I don't have a cool picture to show anyone and this and that and that. And they're like, can you just write a goddamn email? So if it hadn't been for them sitting my ass down and making me do that, I would not have gotten in touch with the Schaubude in time. We wouldn't have gotten offered the slot at all. So it's literally because of Amma that we did this in the first place.
This is what you went to school for?
Art school is probably all about pulling shit out of your ass.
It actually is. I mean, we always said like, what was it? We have a BS, like a bachelor in sculpture.
Yeah, BS, yeah.
Other parts of my drag that are really high craftsmanship.
We'll focus.
This show is not it.
Do you?
Yes. Do you?
Wow, we're...
Mumble shade over here, honestly. Jesus.
I mean, I've been helping you. And it's
Are you any good at any of this crap? Don't you be burning me. Give me that knife.
They have a degree in...
I have a degree.
Pretty much every puppet that I have known or has ever been built, I can't say is not built with bullshit.
And I mean, they're the reason that I have all of this like incredible research material on Lester, because they like just go the extra mile on all of this stuff. And it's I'm so lucky to have this human in my life at all, and I also get to call them my partner, and that is just fucking incredible. We had to get a New York Library card to get access.
Aww.
31 years ago, I fell in love with a girl in a beaded dress. It was the first time I'd ever seen a lady dressed to go out in the evening, and the effect on this Hannibal, Missouri boy was dazzling. In fact, I went down to the Emporium on Broadway to look at her every afternoon after school. True facts. And we're like,
Download.
give us access.
And I can tell you then the trick. And then in order to download more than, how much was it, like 10 articles? Because it would not allow me with my session would expire. Then I will have to log in with incognito tab, because we had like 2 weeks there. So I wanted to do it in the same day. And then I was just downloading and downloading and downloading. And then I will have
thousands
to ask, can you reset or can you let me know with Zoe's card, please? It was ridiculous.
So you both have a New York Library card
Yeah,
now?
we both got New York Library card. We had 20 TV auditions, Gaba says, but the show didn't work. Cynthia never made any sense. She muffed lines. Finally, I got tired of carrying her around from studio to studio. So one day, while absolutely disgusted, I took Cynthia down to the studio of a mad scientist in Greenwich Village and left her in his attic, where I'm sure she still sits covered in dust. And it's become a really great collaboration, and they're always so down to try everything, you know. Like at the beginning they were just supposed to stage manage and work production and help with the research and the logistics of everything, and then I started writing more and more puppets into every scene, and I was like, oh goodness, we're gonna need more people. And Amma themselves, they have a huge interest in theater. They've done theater in the past, and they're not shy to pick something up and learn on the go, and they did such an incredible job just picking it up with very little warning, with me just sort of throwing them into it and being sort of like, hell yeah, like let's go, let's learn how to puppeteer. And I think Monica and Amma and Sabina made a really great team together. I think they all went at it with a lot of joy and spirit. So maybe just bring it up and be like, I try, but it's still on her. Okay. And then we have this slow, like a, just as if she's still together, but there's a rope on either wrist.
So like her body is also sort of tugging, right? It's like, but I try, and I try, tugging at nothing.
But omnibus.
Although, actually, it's nice to see it's really nice to see the torso as well. So just like tugging. Just give it like a couple centimeters. Tugging.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So let's say like, I try, and I try,
Can you give us
tugging.
the cue first?
There's nothing more I can give. But I try, and I try, tugging at nothing. That looks beautiful.
Hungry eyes, pulling in all directions.
Pulling in all directions, we start.
I have to give them something. I have to be everywhere.
Yes.
The world is an empty window. I am stretching out too thin. There isn't enough of me anymore.
I think
I can feel myself coming apart.
the trend with how this show came to be and all the elements that in the end made it into the show is like, I had this idea and I was struggling putting it on paper, and then everything that made it into the show was an element that I discovered that made it easier to write the show, that gave me solutions to the story that I wanted to tell. And like the music is that, the drag element is that, and the puppets were really like a big moment of like realization where I was like, wait, like this can help me bring this world to life more without sacrificing the mode of one-man show.
Look at her, she's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love her weird boobs.
She's got such weird boobs, yeah. She's pretty strange, like, altogether.
She's also like.
She's got, like, a lot, yeah. And then all these pieces come off.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
She fully comes apart.
Is this
Like,
cracked Cynthia? Oh,
this is
the final
the
one.
final Cynthia.
Wow.
So that arm should be like kind of at rest, like the sides. Let's just try like walking in place. So the head always leads, and she's so waggly.
Because I think it was really important for me for him to be actually relatively lonely on stage, for him to be the only human in his world, because that's something that I drew from my research and like how I've gotten to know him as a person is he's an incredibly lonely person. And so I was like, well, I don't want to add other human beings in the same mode. I want it to be him and his materials, him and his level of mastery, you know? And so I was like, okay, but then you just end up telling things, and all you end up is basically giving a lecture, and then how do you solve that? And then when we brought the puppets in, I was like, oh, this is it, because then the materials, the objects, start taking on a life. But it is a life that we can give him a level of control over, because they're his tools. They're his things that he uses in his world that he's built for himself.
Except that her ankle is like all.
I think it's mostly hair.
Yeah, she's just weird.
Yeah, I think there was some hands work at the beginning there as well. Weird. Not taking her wig off.
Yeah.
This is amazing. The rotation.
I'm gonna like see it. Yeah, she could. I mean, it is satisfying to just see her like living like that. Like she could be like.
Maybe she takes it in both her hands like this. Can she do that?
Yeah.
I can also hold it so you don't have to cover it with your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if she has like
So
a
there's,
little
like,
pain moment with her own
pain
leg,
movement.
it's nice.
There's also something so much more poetic about him losing control over these things that are supposed to be his tools of mastery as his world starts falling apart. And so I'm like, okay, like dramaturgically that makes amazing sense. Then the writing process became kind of a ping pong between myself and Monica, because we started having weekly meetings and we would just get on Zoom for a couple hours and talk about where we're at right now. And I had someone that I could share my writing with when it was like fresh off the press, which is usually something that's really difficult for me because I'm such a perfectionist. And then I immediately got like feedback about how we could make this look on stage.
You please say hello to the folks that I know. Tell them I won't be long. We'll be happy to know that the days they alone. They were singing this song.
We meet again. Don't know where. Don't know when. But I know we'll meet again some sunny day. Smiling through, just like you always do, till the blue skies hide the dark clouds far away. So will you please say
Chachi's like a main character, you know.
He's
so.
like the only other main character.
Yeah, exactly. And that puppet I find to be a little limiting, you know, but somehow it hasn't been, I don't think. It feels like it's been pretty expressive and it has that the dance I think looks pretty good and
Yeah.
it hasn't been as like limiting as I think. Hey! Ooh! Ah! Hey! He's like, he knows everybody in the club. He's like, how doing? No, you. How's your mom? What's up? How's your mom?
Nice to meet you. Well, Cynthia, what do you say to that? We're no longer the only gay in the village. Gay? In the village. Oh, and I'm holding her in my arms, and I'm like, well, this is Cynthia.
Exactly.
Like, kiss her hand.
Yeah.
Do the thing.
What the fuck is this?
It's the worst hand. It has to be the other hand. Like, kiss, kiss, kiss. Well, in this case, my diagnosis appears to be correct. Preaching advice to a lady you've just met without even a kiss on the hand.
How right you are.
Come on, Cynthia. Let's dance.
I thought she sprained her ankle.
Well, between the three of us, we ought to manage, don't you think?
How does this end? How does
We
this
dance.
But I don't know, like he has like these really human hands, but he doesn't get to have a face. And
I don't know. I feel like that gave us like a nice bit of leeway of like, okay, we don't, like we leave it enough up to the imagination, and it also adds to the kind of drama of like Lester as the unreliable narrator.
But this is
Where
what
we kind of have to take his word for it.
This is what we were discussing yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, that I mean, I haven't watched the other whole play completely, but it plays on recreating what their relationship was, and this does. But because Vincente is a puppet, you're also saying this is what Lester is gonna tell.
Yeah.
This is Lester's story. We're not really making up. You know, like we're seeing everything through Lester's eyes.
yeah, and
And
it's
it's
as
a
much
bit
as he's gonna
nicer.
let us know. you
Yeah,
know?
and it's a bit nicer than, I don't know, or I find it more polite historically as well.
There's this, and then try this.
And then.
I need to come all the way over here.
Already?
Oh, I see. I forgot what we did.
You mean so we're not taking so many liberties with like having them be gay men who were definitely closeted their entire lives?
Well, I would have had many complaints of how to recreate this because I think, and especially for queer history, with any romantic projection, but like you tell the stories of love in the Roman Empire, and people are having current love stories, and how you live relationships and love and family, everything has changed. I mean, I studied anthropology, so this is what I'm really interested in. So things also felt different, and we make these mistakes nowadays also with other cultures and really improves our way of seeing scenes. And I like, for example, what you also like, all the conversation about Judy Garland, because what the little I was reading about his biography, it doesn't seem that he was only trying to cover it up. They did have a relationship.
Yeah, they had a public relationship. Now, like the Minnelli estate and all of his biographers, like vehemently deny. I'm expecting you there, but you're not there, and then I go, oh, okay. This is fun.
Any other queer reading would have said, well, this thing with Judy Garland was just a puff and it didn't have any value. And
It's just a weird. But the thing is, like, I think they really were in love. Like,
they had a relationship. What does this mean? And Judy Garland came to visit and they had dinner, the three of them, you know?
yeah, Lester Gaba and Judy Garland had dinner together.
Both in you. So funniest.
It's kind of hilarious though.
Did we? Can I hold your other hands?
This hand?
And then we can hold her up like this, and then your two.
And then what is that? The other one is glossy.
Grabbing.
Stop it. I'm just blocking you.
Really bisexual.
Yeah,
Just legs.
deeply bisexual to be just like. And that's when we grab. That's still what we grab. When we grab your.
Ever get desperate? I'll be like one of your girls.
And we. Exactly.
And again, I don't know what sources these people are working from, but the person who describes it was like, yeah, and Lester was just like, I cannot believe my eyes, what is happening?
But this was the one who was making up a lot of shit, actually.
Well,
we read,
I don't know that, but
no, we read two
be.
biographies. One had no sources, and he was just making this story that sounded very coherent, very cool, but he was just making it up. I mean, after reading a lot of things, but, and the other one had sources.
Say what you want, keep it a secret. You get the key to my heart, I don't need it. Give me a call if you ever get desperate. I'll
extend your
everybody wants me.
We just choreographed this part. Hold on.
Sometimes, like, the real story is the less interesting story, right? Like, you know, there's a lot of things where I'm like, well, look, I had to keep reminding myself, it's an artistic interpretation. Like, I'm writing a work of art. I am not bound by the social contract of writing a biography for someone. You know, no one's gonna critique me and be like, that's not actually what happened, you know?
Nobody wants you as I do. Let me eat your face.
The first thing that needs to
It's nice, right?
is this dress needs to be like
caress me.
Oh, Lester. I'm Judy Garland.
No, what's her name? Judy Garland. No, what's the better name? Judy Project? No,
Judy Davina?
So I think the first thing that should happen is the second chair.
Judy
comes
Package.
I'm,
Judy
I'm,
Package.
I'm just Judy
The other
Package.
chair
Judy
is already
Package.
with legs in it.
What?
And
Oh,
that
I've long loved you.
what's this?
Ever since.
and with so Intente.
What?
But I think I feel a really great sense of duty towards him somehow, and so that has been a conflict where I'm like, oh, like, do I stick to the facts, or do I let myself make the more interesting, sort of ridiculous choice? And I want to sort of let myself jump a little bit more into the artistic interpretation of it, using everything I know and doing it with a respect for him and keeping him human, you know?
It's like you have no skin between what you're feeling and like the rest of the world. It just projects out of you.
Wow.
So if you are engaging yourself on stage, it is being felt all the way to the back. Okay, continue.
You want to know? Do you really want to know? I'll tell you why. The reason is because, like, within a year, potato farming had outstripped wheat production, and you know why that was? It's because the farmers felt like innovators. They didn't think of themselves anymore as I'm a wheat farmer. They thought, I am a daredevil entrepreneur. And you can tell me that that was mean and calculated and manipulative, but answer me this. Would you rather live in a world with or without the French fry?
Yeah.
The second act is very wordy and very monologue-y at the beginning, and I felt incredibly stuck and awkward and cringy, and I was considering cutting the entire thing because I was like, I am just blabbing, and this is gonna be weird and awkward, and I don't know how to solve it.
It is us display men who have distilled art to its purest form. We change the world every spring, summer, fall, and winter. You want to change the world? Make it fashionable. We change the world every spring, summer, fall, and winter, and something.
And Sabina sat down with me and was like, okay, we're gonna go through it and we're gonna just try blocking it and give you things to do with your body on stage. And that really unblocked the sort of mental blockade that I had.
And you can tell me that that was mean. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to scare him.
Should you go to his weird house?
To his weird house? Yeah. I think he's afraid of me.
Weird house time.
I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry I'm being
Go to
scary.
your house.
Sorry I'm being scary.
Probably have PTSD. You've just been in war for 4 years. You're crazy now. You're so crazy that you think that you can continue the Cynthia thing, which is probably what you were holding on to.
Yeah.
So we see you after 4 years of slowly going nuts. So maybe it's more played bombastic, cracked out, and a little cooked up. So louder, faster. Like I see this as like specifically from the right. You know what I can't stand? Ask me what I can't stand. I'll tell you what I can't stand. Oh, what I can't stand is it's like it's. Whoa, we're starting to feel concerned for Lester.
What that is, and I don't want to eat it. So what were they gonna do? Were they gonna force it down their throats and have a bunch of strikes and revolts on their hands? No, they did something much more brilliant.
And it was so useful to have someone to go through that with you, because it's very exhausting to have to solve everything by yourself.
Right? Right.
Yes, good.
Great, yes. Right. Now, the true genius of this operation is this. They instructed the armored guards to let the peasants pass whenever they were trying to steal some. Please.
I don't really like doing that. I would prefer to do this kind of stuff all the time. It was a huge privilege. It was fun. More of this.
Daredevil entrepreneurs. And you can tell me that that was mean and calculated and manipulative. But answer me this. Would you rather live in a world with or without the French fry?
A lot of the shit that I am interested in are deeply sad things. And I think that Lester's story is something that is unbelievably sad and tragic to me, because it's someone who engineered their own irrelevance, their own loss of legacy, someone who engineered their own loneliness and failure. And it is just so sad, and it is so relatable.
I'm very excited for a version in which we get to sing the Andersons live.
Oh my god.
That's gonna be so funny and fun.
Oh my god. He did things with craft and staples no one else could do. He was the top man at his craft. And then his number came up and he was gone with the draft. He's wearing khakis now, there's nothing he could do. It's the color of the season 1942. But I think that if all you do is hammer down on the sadness and the tragedy, you numb people.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm almost right. I have holes in all my socks. And like we're all fucked up enough by being alive.
There's a hole in my sock.
And God, I don't know. Like we need to laugh. We need to connect. We need to acknowledge similarity. We need to acknowledge like joy and have fun. And then if you build that trust with each other through these positive things or these hilarious things, we can lead to the water of seriousness, and we can go to those places together because we've built trust, because we trust each other. If I come on stage and I'm like, you suck, and I suck, and we all suck, and maybe we should all just die, like, there is no suggestion of a better world in that. You know, there is nothing utopic or joyful about it. Then everyone just goes home and feels defeated and useless and like a waste of space and oxygen, you know?
Why?
Absolutely not.
Well, if they're like here already, that's what I'm confused about.
Umo was so happy he knew so many people from the guests, and then she.
If you can get a room of people to laugh at something together, you've already created a shared experience, you know? And it feels simple, but it's a bonding thing. And then those people have done something together.
Lady Gaba.
And if you want to actually inspire people to think further and better and more optimistic, even if we've just gone through something really sad together, then like, I don't know, I think humor is a really great way to do that. It's very important.
Thank you, Tate.
Oh
my god, I'm so excited. It's nice. Well, yeah.
Just before the curtain goes up for the final time, I'll come out in my best suit and I'll say to the crowd, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for the last time ever, it's the one and only, the glamorous, the gorgeous.
Okay, but good job.
Thank you.